Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? As you know, the last few days has been atrocious rain in the country. Uh, it's been insane amount of rain. And the water was the pit for Irish water a few years ago. Um, well, have a look at the rivers and lakes and even the roads, the sides of roads at the moment, have a look at that. Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil, and come back to me on that and come back to the Irish people on that. Because I think you have enough water in the country to do you for a lifetime. But no, this is not the point of this video. I want to talk about the drains, particularly drains. You see them along the road. You have them at your houses, particularly again the ones on the road, on the public roads, even private roads too. Obviously, if it's in your own house, it's up to you to make sure the drains are not clogged or anything like that. But I'm talking about the public roads, busy roads, things like that. Even in Cavan here alone, years ago, I remember the county councils cleaned them out. They used to take the lids off the drains and clean them out, and they used to be basically spotless. They cleaned the taps to make sure the water could run down the drain and go into the drain and wouldn't flood the road. Right nowadays, the drains are covered in leaves. I know myself. I do drains around here, even though we're not really supposed to. We're not really authorised to do it. We're not really told to do it. Basically, not allowed to do it. In regards to things, as far as I'm aware, because it's done away with. It's outsourced supposedly to some crowd that I never see doing anything. But anyway, but yeah, it's supposed to be again that's a different kettle of fish. But yeah, so obviously you do know, and everybody probably have seen drains clogged on the side of the roads, and no wonder the place floods, and they wonder why the place floods and things like that. When the drains are blocked, it's basically asking for trouble. It's basically just, what more do you expect? Do you expect the water just to randomly combust on the road? Um, but yeah, and then obviously too, years ago they used to dig trenches. I remember even the Kettle when I was even young, when I was pretty young now. I remember seeing them digging trenches and ditches and things like that, so the water could run in and go into the trench off the roads and not flood the roads. But obviously nowadays the county councils are not inclined to do that, because again it requires too much work obviously, and obviously requires a lot of manpower, which obviously has been outsourced to private companies. And again, this is the fact, it should be always public service, local authority, in terms of maintaining, obviously the roads, in terms of tarmac and things, the majority of that's outsourced, which shouldn't be the case. It really shouldn't be the case. It should be up to the local authorities to do it, and the local authorities to maintain it. That's the way I see it. It shouldn't be up to a crowd from Northern Ireland to come down and do it. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. It should be up to the men on the council to do it. That would be the ideal world. And obviously, the same with the drains and things, that shouldn't be outsourced. There should be very limited what can be outsourced. Not really everything. Like literally the way it's going, in about 5 years' time, in about 10 to 15 years' time, there won't be any councilmen on the road, will be all outsourced. Um, and again, just think about that for a second. But the next thing I say is that, we do need to focus a bit more. If again we're going to prevent floods and roads being flooded and things like that, even in Cavan here, there's multiple roads here. The floods could have been prevented for the last few days. There was roads closed because they were overflowed with water, and the drains basically couldn't hold the water, and basically because they were half clogged. Basically, some were fully clogged, and just was hopeless. But this is the thing: we need to set up in every county a few people designated to go around to do the drains under the local authority. Take for example St Clair's under the Clare County Council, and these people are dedicated, 5 or 6 people in each county designated to go and clean the drains during the summer, all throughout the year. It'd be nearly a full time job. If you think about a town alone, in Butler's Bridge here, I can nearly think about along the side of the roads here, and the main street and the other streets along beside Butler's Bridge here. I can nearly think about probably about 20 to 30 drains, which is a lot. And that's only one area, and then you go out the other roads, out towards the town, out towards Bertobert, there's more drains and things like that. So basically it's nearly a full-time job, because obviously it's not a in and out. You're basically there for a good few minutes cleaning out the drain, taking the lid off it, cleaning all the stuff out of it, and etc etc etc. It's not like run and jump and things that. It takes time. I know myself. I usually clean the tops of the drains. We never were authorised to go in and clean the drains. But yeah, to clean the top of the drains too is important, obviously. Because obviously, if the drain's obviously not full underneath, and if the top of the drain's clogged, once before I remember, there was a bag or something like that stuck on it. don't know how that happened, but there was a bag stuck in a kind of a coal bag, and I was blocking the water from going in, and I lifted that, and then we walked out, and then I remember that one time there was in the town there, up at the old the railway station, the old railway road up there by the fire station, just up there on Swellen. Um, yes, that's about 2 years ago now at this stage. But yeah, obviously, again, as I say, that's the way it should be, and obviously we reduce some floods. Again, I know some places like out by St McDonald's there on Cavan, it is very low. That area, particularly where the flood happens outside Powers and McDonald's there, it's a very low lying area, and I don't think there's much you can do because the water would just regardless of what you do, it's just the way the roads is and was the way it's designed, really. It kind of all culminates in that small spot there, which kind of it turns into a big water flow, basically. Um, so that's basically what happens, and other places around the county too, it's impossible to obviously, like there for example, out by the institute there, in Cavan Town there too, the water came onto the road. There's very little you can really do about it there because that's a drain kind of there, unless you dig up the drain and extend it down more. But I think it's as far as really can go because the drain again has been there for years and I never seen it flood before. It flooded once before back in 2011 when there was extreme rain. But obviously needs to be looked into. There's something needs to be done there because if it does come bad again, it basically will flood to high heaven. And obviously some houses to sustain some damage there with the floods there today, yesterday and the other day. So hopefully, I don't think it was that bad in the houses. I think they were able to stop the floods from coming in, thankfully. But again, this is the situation. We need to protect people's houses. We need to protect people's property. We need to do everything we can to stop floods and things like that. We need to do everything we can. We need to do everything that's feasible to do. And again, one feasible thing we can do, if we put the time and effort, again, it's time and effort that has to go into it. And a good bit of money too. But it's mainly the time and the effort that needs to go in. Because again, there's no effort being made by the local authorities, as far as I can see, to clean drains and to make sure the water can go into the drains and not be clogged up and not go onto the road. I see no effort being made, and I have to be honest with you. So there should be an effort. There really should be an effort. And again, if we do that small thing, it might help in some areas. In other areas, it might need different tactics. But in terms of them areas I described, it could help in some of them areas if the drains were operational first of all, and not clogged to the last. And they do wonder why there's floods. The councillors and TDs and things, they wonder why there's floods. It doesn't make any sense. But again, even as I say, about years ago, they were digging trenches and ditches and things in the fields and letting the water run in. Obviously, again, it takes a long day. You have to dig a trench basically. But nowadays they probably could get a digger in and dig it up. Years ago it was by shovel. But I suppose the proper way of doing it would be to get a shovel and dig, and let the water run. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking. I do hope the local authorities do look at this a bit more. Put a few men on, in each county, designated literally just to go around and clean all the shucks in the county, all the drains in the county. A few for each area. Take for example, in the three municipal authorities here in Cavan. Out of the 5, 2 could be put into take for example, 2 could be put around Cavan Baltobin area. 2, I would say actually probably 6 maybe. 2 for each area. How about that? I know it would be a lot of work now. It would be a lot of work. But it would be an effort. It would be an effort being made. And it might make a difference. Because again, the thing about drain, I will say one more thing when I finish. The drains do clog very quickly, particularly this time of year. Leaves come down, branches, they clog up the drain. You might clean it one day, and then tomorrow there'll be more stuff stuck on top of it to clean off. So it's basically a never-ending job. And then obviously weeds grow in too because it's a wet environment, that kind of shocky area of a drain. So the weeds kind of grow up it and block it too. But yeah, we do have to look into it as a country and as local authorities. We do need to tackle it effectively. At least try and make a difference because again, there's no effort being made as far as I can see. But yeah, I don't know what people think. Let me know if your areas drains are clogged. But that's just what I see every day. The drains, nearly every drain I come across in other parts of Cavan too are clogged. Some of them might be in a semi-walking facility, but not all of them. Let me know what you think. Bye.